the next is this row of images. Let's just drop a div in there. This is going to be a container as well. I have these images sitting on my desktop. They are logos of our lovely big tech librarians. So what is this? This is a grid. Might as well make them. So there's a question like when do you use Flexbox and when do you use grid? And I would say if you may wonder which is which, and if you want things to be the same size, you might as well use grid. So in this case, Flexbox is great for when it's a row of things and they're all different sizes. You can make them the same size by just setting them to the same size, but it's not what like you might as well just make a grid at that point. Grid template columns, repeat 5 1 FR, and all you have to do is spell columns correctly, and there we go. Let's get some gap in there, maybe some more, and then they're all kind of not in a line. These aren't totally in a line either, but something about this one feels a little wonky. This Oracle one is so high. So I think that is align items. Center. Boom. Maybe they need more space. I'm gonna breathe a little bit more. Yeah. Wow, we are almost done with this thing. That's amazing. Not bad. This is all zoomed in, zoomed out because of the other side. Continuing down below. This is what we got. We got this guy. Oh man, this little triangle could be difficult. Alright, help, I am trapped in a testimonial. Copy that. And paste it in here. And this is a container as well. And it's also going to be this could be a flex container, right? Wow, we got to handle this wrapping. Man, just when you think everything's going well, you forget about mobile. I'm going to take care of that. If I zoom in on this again, and this turned ugly. Let's say media max width 900 pixels. It's got to have grid template columns 1 FR. Now it's dropping down. This is the one that has max width. Let's say align. Let's justify items. Center. Boom. Now in the center. This one. So right now we were creating space by space around, but since this is now justified in the center, there's no space between these, so we gotta add some gap just to spread these out a little bit. I would say maybe a little more. What do you think? Does that look alright? Looks alright. I'd say maybe some margin on the top of it. So let's say 32 pix 0. Now this thing can breathe a little bit. And now these logos need to wrap to more columns. So we need another media query, max width 900 pixels, and grid template columns they're in, it's a, oh wait, let me see this. So this is tricky. This is something you cannot do in grid because this one is in the middle. So it turns out we do need flexbox on this. I picked wrong, so let's do flexbox. Display, flex, and how do we make them wrap to a new line? Let's say the image, which is all of these images, width 300 pixels. Let's get some padding on this thing. 32 pixels, 64 pixels. So I said width 300, but these are not wrapping. Let's do flex, flow, row, wrap. Now they're wrapping, and they're actually 300 pixels is way too many. So 200, 100. What's going on there? Row, reverse, that's not what we wanted. Wrap. Justify content. Center is what's going to make them in the center, and that's cool. And then gap can be a vertical gap or a horizontal gap. It's a double property. So if we want more space between these rows, we could do should be 48 pixels, 24. So now there's 24 between each one and 48 between each row. And that looks all right. Maybe 32. That looks pretty good. I might, since this has padding, this has padding below it, and then this has padding above it, but it seems like that's adding up to like a decent amount of space. I guess we'll see what happens with this testimonial. How does this work on mobile? So this collapses, and this is just much smaller. We could do this could do grid or flexbox. It doesn't matter. Famous last words. But let's get this little robot face in there. So this testimonial, you can barely see it, can you? How about that? There it is. This needs background. Help if I spelled it correctly. Var blue. It needs padding. 32 pixels, 64 pixels horizontally, and it needs color white, right? It's black, but it's bold. Black and bold. Font, weight, bold. Let's add display flex, and there it is on the same row. We need align items center. Now it's next to it, and then let's get a little bit of a gap in there. 24 pixels, and then some padding on this thing. 32 all around. That looks alright. Are we getting close? Looks like the padding is not so much on this blue box, but on this one it is. So on mobile, the padding gets smaller. Media query, changing the rules for mobile. Max width 900 pix, and then less padding. So padding 1632, something like that. Now, does that look right? Kinda. It's almost like it wants more padding when it's on desktop. Is that the one that's showing up here? No. So how wide is this screen? This page. This is, looks like it's 700. So why would this one be the right? Max width 900. What is that? Oh, well, See, that's changing the padding at the top here. Something is weird. Cannot explain that. Okay. So this triangle, you can make it in CSS. This is CSS magic that's going to happen right now. We're going to take this thing and make a before element. Content, not like empty. That's just what it does. You need to add some content, even if the content is nothing, just to make it look, just to make it appear. Display block width 30, let's say 20 pixels, height 30 pixels, and then we're gonna do position absolute. Background are blue, and you can see it's showing up here on the left, like it's covering this text. But what we want is to put it at left, put it at right 100%. Top 0. So I kind of lost it. Oh, right. So it's right now it's probably off the screen because what we need in order to position it absolute in relative to this blue box, we have to add position relative on the box. So now you can see this, it's this little rectangle that's poking out here. So I'm gonna add top 50%. So how do we make it into a triangle? I'm gonna go with clip path. So there's something called clip path generator. So what we need is this one. And how do I get this? Where is it? Here it is. Polygon. So if this existed in Hot Page, it would be amazing, because boom, you would just have this thing already there. If you could draw that on there. So it looks like there's like a 1 pixel gap here. So I'm gonna say calc 100% minus 1 pixel, and then we get rid of that little gap. And then top, let's just say 30 pixels. Right auto, how did that happen? Right, that was the calc 100% minus 1 pixel. Boom. That's a little triangle. Let's see how this looks on mobile. Not bad. Getting close.